Getting ready for our Patreon paint along, and of course we already had an argument about microphones. I can't even hold the phone still.
He's very passionate about microphones.
No, it's because you snapped at me. I was just putting the microphone there. Didn't even want you to do anything about it.
I'll just leave it as his version.
Well, I'd like to play back the video, but I didn't video it.
Okay. So I guess you can see if this shows up.
Oh, all right. I'll see if that camera is showing up.
So it's going to be my first try at doing the acrylic setup I'm going to use in Scotland.
So you're using a lot of golden paints?
Yeah, I've got different types, but yeah, these are all goldens. I have a little thing that I'm going to get where I actually going to squeeze the paint into it beforehand that seals, so I won't have to bring all the paint with me, but just to try.
You mean like you put it out at the hotel or wherever, and it's a
container. Little container. It's a short little container and has about 24 little squares.
Yeah, I'll film that.
So
yeah.
I can put that in there.
And we just bought these little things from like Walmart. They're little.
Yeah.
You can like actually seal them. So.
Actually, this I just tried it. This doesn't actually seal. If I turn it over, the water starts coming out. So, it's okay for just a water.
All right, so
bottle,
we need something that screws.
I
closed.
actually ordered a different thing that collapses as a water thing for.
Oh well, I've had those before.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a small one.
It's so funny. Over the years, we probably ordered 5 of those. I think I probably just threw out some.
I put this in here because I'm gonna use this as my white. I put this in before I left. This is really thick.
Just gesso.
Gesso, but it's not just a regular. It's really thick. Heavy body, and so then you can use that and paint with it a little bit more. I don't have to try to squeeze it out.
Because you like thick paint.
Tubes. Yeah. So I thought this would be good to have in these things. And
here's some white, but this is a little bit thinner.
That's white.
You have your spray bottle, you have your little tray. It fits kind of in your pochade
box.
box.
I can actually just do it in the pochade box too. I'll probably mostly be doing it.
Oh, but then won't the acrylic just kind of build up in there?
I'll show you this. Well, this is just oil, so it's sealed.
No, but I mean, it won't be hard to clean up the acrylic afterwards.
It won't be hard. And anyways, this here is actually one of those boards that we use.
Oh, okay. And you're going to be able to get it
out.
out.
So I just taped it in here so that if I ever need to take it out, I can take
razor
it out.
blade
I don't have
to
scrape all my. Well, yeah, I just take the tape off the side.
So you just have these kind of trays.
Yeah, these just go inside each other.
Okay.
So I can have them. When I have my, I was stupid. I can't use my. I was going to do the whole setup as I'm going to do it, but this arm I brought. I'm using smaller canvases on our trip.
Yeah.
I brought the smaller arm, which I'll travel with, but it actually won't fit this canvas.
Yeah, yeah. And you wouldn't be using stretch canvas on the trip anyways.
But we'll film the actual setup.
And what's this for?
So this is called the retarder.
Oh.
So it slows down the drying. So if I add a little drop into this in the acrylics, it'll take 15 minutes for them to dry.
Okay.
And then I also have this here, which is the gloss medium. So it's just like it's a thin version of acrylics, but it's gloss. So if I add a little bit of that into my piles of acrylics, when I paint on here, it'll stay glossy.
Okay.
It won't dry a different
And that's
color.
the photo you actually took from our trip to France a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Those were the models that were posing for my workshop.
Ocean and France.
I recognize that dress because that was one of my dresses that I brought.
Yeah. Yeah, we just dressed her up as a...
And this is just a regular kind of, cheap canvas board that is this acrylic on top of this?
It's acrylic. It's an acrylic prime canvas, just from Jerry's or somewhere. And then I just toned it with acrylics. All right, so I'm going to start this.
Scott, you laid out your paints and you added some of that extender.
Extender and then the gloss medium.
So you kind of have two palettes. You put your Akana paints up here and then you mix down there.
Yeah, just because I have this.
Just because you like to use a lot of paint.
Normally I'm going to have one on one side and have one of these palettes, and the other side I have them be clipped on here. And then I'll have the middle palette I'll be using. So, but since I'm set up for this today, I'm just doing it this way. Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise this takes over so much.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to start blocking
and
you a little bit.
And you just use your regular oil painting brushes. For you, it doesn't matter.
I have to decide if I want to sketch this out first. I might sketch a little bit with charcoal and then paint on top of that. So, let's see. That'll show up. So I'm just going to kind of place it with this. decide where I want to have her.
So really, it's only important that you see the sketch. I tell people when I'm doing demos and stuff and you're just using placement, sometimes you're just doing it so lightly.
Yeah.
It's really just for you. It doesn't have to be for other people. This is just for you to make sure you have the size correct.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to decide how much of this I want to show. I might make it a little bigger. I don't need her hand to show in the whole thing, so I'm going to make it a little bigger here. That's what's nice about sketching it out, is you can kind of figure out what composition
This is
you
just
want.
a charcoal vine.
Just a medium.
Just a medium, yeah.
Vine charcoal. This, I think, is the knit trim.
Okay.
So yeah. So I just kind of just place it. I don't need it detailed, but just to figure my composition out, I have kind of a side going there. Yeah.
Looking at old photographs, feeling things I wish were true, like incandescent bottle light, and wishful tears you never knew. Oh, who were we before we had to ask that question and know the very one that splits the atoms?
So yeah, he's going to take acrylics on the trip that we leave for next week, and so he's just practicing this week. And what he also did was, instead of just using the regular gold and white, he took heavy duty gesso, and
It's like heavy body.
heavy body
it's really
gesso,
thick.
and he's using that as his white, so that as he's mixing the colors, it keeps that body. And then he also put extender in the paints so that he can like pick them up and like they'll stay wet longer.
And some gloss medium.
Oh, and some gloss medium.
So that it won't dry a different color. It'll
So
dry
we'll dry a
glossy.
different color. Yeah. He just took a few minutes to sketch this out. But so I've been going through a lot of old catalogs and old things, and some stuff we have from like the early 90s. And I had found this book. I have a guest book from like one of Scott's first shows at the Palette and Chisel.
No, it was the show at Bonnie's.
No, it wasn't. It was the show at the Palette and Chisel.
Oh, it was at the Palette and Chisel. Oh.
And it was interesting because I was looking through the book and I saw all these names. And yeah, Bonnie was in there and my name was in there, and it was before I met Scott. And so it's kind of fun to like, it's just like crazy to think how time has flown. I have not been to Chicago in so long. Yeah, it's crazy. And you guys can paint along, or you could just watch, right? You can click Scott's box. I'll put the camera back on him and you can just watch him. Or you can kind of go back and forth between his box and my box. I have another camera that I'm about to turn on that will show up here. And then you can see me start painting Annie and go back and forth. I'm just gonna put some music on. And maybe later on, if you guys have questions for Scott, he can talk about his acrylic process and stuff.
Human soul at the open door like a mirror. The open door like a mirror. The open door like a mirror. You can go where you want, but you can't stay here. I wish that I had seen the signs, but planets hardly ever align, and we were always doing fine, but only ever doing fine. So I started searching for the light within, holding candles up to desires, while the light in our whole room grows dim. Shadows in the shape of a pyre, and we look at the open door like a mirror. The open door like a mirror. The open door like a mirror. You can go where you want, but you can't stay here. And we open door like a mirror. Oh yeah, the open door like a mirror. The open door like a mirror. You can go where you want, but you can't stay here.
Wow. So Scott, are you having, is this like,
Just experimenting.
does it feel like oil paint?
No, it feels like oil paint when I put it down thick, but then as it dries, I can actually go over it, put washes over it, and glaze things over it.
Yeah, but
So
I
it's
mean,
a
but it
different
looks
feel.
good the way it is, so why would you want to do that?
Well, I'm just saying that's I have done a little bit of that over it, so yeah. Yeah,
Because
but
my point is that somebody who's never tried acrylics like this, does it feel like oil paint?
this feels very similar to oil paint when I add the extender, so it doesn't dry.
Okay, so
and
he
I'm
says
using,
it feels like oil paint because he added the extender.
and I'm also using that thicker.
And he's also using that thicker gesso because the gesso has more body, it feels more like a thick paint.
Yeah. But then once it dries, I'll be able to put washes over things too.
No,
so,
don't do any washes.
Well.
So I want you guys just to know that I take lots of breaks, because if I did not take lots of breaks, I would start to paint, and in a way it would almost be like, for me anyways, like I'm falling asleep and I'm just putting strokes down without like really understanding why I'm putting the strokes down. So I always feel that I would rather just have a painting, take 2 days, 3 days, instead of just one, and just be more present. So that's just why I like to take breaks. But Scott says he's gonna like zoom out a little bit so you can see his palette.
I'll zoom out and hold my palette up. How's that?
Okay.
That might be better.
Maybe you could show your image and the painting at the same time.
Okay. So that's what I'm working from. And there's my palette.
So yeah, he has two small like little plastic trays. One where he put just his colors. And then the other one is where, so he pre-mixed these. So you guys, he laid out his paint, his acrylics, put the extender in it, which keeps it wet, and the gloss,
gloss medium.
The gloss medium. So he mixed both of those, like he's mixing
with
like,
a palette knife.
with a palette knife. And then at the bottom tray is where he's actually doing his brush strokes. And because he needed more space.
Tilt it up. So that's what it looks like.
It actually looks like frosting.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I can't put it vertical because it drips too much.
Yeah, so Scott was saying that him and I both do not paint with a vertical palette. I only do this for these kind of Zoom things sometimes. It's awkward for me, and I noticed that when I first put my ivory black down, it started to slide, so I had to kind of mush it to the palette. And Scott says that he cannot do acrylics at all vertical. He's done oil paintings vertical, with a vertical palette before, but the acrylics, because you're using water too, it would not work, so. like anything in life. Like I think Scott and I are definitely very similar into the fact that we probably are more value oriented. So for us, it's just more value. Like I don't really care if it's like a warmer red or a cooler red, but my preference, like if we took 20 people and we had a warm red and a cool red on a wall, like a swatch, and you asked 20 people to do a secret ballot, and you said, well, which one do you prefer? It would probably be kind of split down the middle, or you would have camps. Some people are more attracted to that slightly warmer red, and some people are more attracted to that slightly cooler red.
I've climbed the mountains in Montana, danced in the lights of New Orleans. Portland ran away with me, and San Francisco stayed with me. Nashville made its way in between. Fell in love in Minnesota, and fell apart south of Salt Lake. Colorado calls to me, and Washington will always be begging for a piece of me to stay. Maybe some things never change, but I wanna know how it feels to hang pictures on a wall, sleep in the same bed at night. I want reasons to stay, I want someone to take up my time and miss me when I go. I've swam the beaches on the West Coast, climbed the trees of Caroline. I felt the city streets of Boston underneath my feet, heard the sound of subways down the line. Walked the lakesides of Wisconsin, and bathed in springs of Idaho. I could use a day or two, or even just an afternoon, getting myself lost in Chicago. Maybe I'm homesick for it all, 'cause I wanna know how it feels to hang pictures on a wall, sleep in the same bed at night. I want reasons to stay, I want someone to take up my time and miss me when I go. I wanna home. 'Cause I have traveled across this country wide, and I feel there must be something more to find. I miss those mountains in Montana. I've wandered long enough to know how good a good thing was. I feel it more the further